Mareweka, and thanks for tuning in to Nʉmʉ Tekwarʉ, the Comanche Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Sarae Ticeahkie. Today, we're talking all things Comanche Nation Transit. So buckle up and let's take a ride. Our special guests are from Comanche Nation's very own transit department. So welcome, everyone. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Brian Stillwell, transit director.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Shelby Luna, and I'm the lead dispatch.
Hello, I'm Pamela Chestnut, and I'm asset manager.
All right. Well, welcome again, and thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. So let's just hop right into it because I feel like we can probably cover a lot of things transit that no one really knows about. So the first big question I'm going to ask is who and what or who is all involved in what is transit? What is our transit department?
First thing I'd like to clarify is that a lot of tribal members and people get confused with transportation and transit. They think we're transportation, but we're not. We're transit. We're the provide rides for our community, and transportation more or less takes care of our roads and bridges.
Okay, yep, that's a good thing to know because I didn't know that either, and I work here, so
Well, even when people vote on transit and transportation, they get them confused. So
I totally get that. So what goes on a day-to-day at the transit department?
Comanche Nation Transit's open from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., open to the public, Monday through Saturday. We just added Saturday. Saturdays are 8 to 5. But every day, if you need a ride to the store or casino, you could call 8 o'clock in the morning. Even though that we open up at 5, the phone lines don't open up until 8. But pretty much it on the day-to-day, unless these girls have anything else.
We do schedule stuff like work and medical and educational one day in advance, as early as 8 a.m. But yeah, anything else, personal errands, you would just call the day of. Since we are an on-demand response, we operate on a first call, first serve basis.
Okay. Anything you want to add?
Not at this time.
Okay. So you mentioned that we are open to the public. A lot of people don't know that. So you kind of want to talk a little bit more about who you are allowing to use the transit services.
Our number one client should be our tribal members, but we are open to the public since we do receive federal grants from FTA. So we trying to make a priority for our tribal members and try to provide them with benefits for using transit. So,
Okay. And what kind of benefits is that?
we have our own prepaid cards for tribal members. We have all different type of cards for employees ride free. If you work for the tribe, you can get the ride transit free. If you're doing business with Comanche Nation and you're a tribal member, that's free. Dialysis appointments, since they're already having a hard time with their health, so we provide that free for our tribal members. We do a lot of other things. We keep trying to, when the calendar comes up, we try to do November. That's a Native American month, so we do free rides Tuesdays and Thursdays because our most important days are Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, which is Dallas Day, and we are pretty busy on those days.
Okay. So kind of in a sense, what is your mission? Why is the transit department so important to Comanche Nation and also our tribal members?
The cost of everything's gone up so much. A lot of people can't afford insurance. A lot of people can't afford the maintenance on their own vehicles. So we do a low cost to all riders, really. So average anywhere from $2 to about $6 for one way. It's just really helping the community out, but don't have their money for their own vehicles.
I totally get that. So kind of cover maybe some things that y'all do throughout the months, throughout the year, whether that be, events or things that people may not know about just because, you are from the outside, just the transit. You get someone from, A to B, but what else goes on?
When we do transport, we do have a customer service train the drivers how to interact with the with our clientele. Also, we're a high safety risk program, and we concentrate a lot on keeping our passengers, our drivers safe through numerous types of training.
And one of the trainings that we do is we'll do like active shooter awareness. We'll also do human trafficking, and then just our basic routine training refreshers like proper wheelchair, customer sensitivity, ADA sensitivity, just to stay up to date and fresh working with the public.
That's kind of cool. I did not know that.
We do like hot topics, like if something's going on, like sometimes it's in the news that some bus operators or train operators are getting assaulted by customers. So we will do a training on something like that. FTA usually sets out guidelines on some of that stuff too. So we utilize whatever they put out. Anything what's going on, maybe shootings or getting assaulted or whatever. So we do.
I'd like to add, since we are, we do get funding from our FTA, which is a government grant for transit, and because we are rural, we qualify. We have to remain nonprofit, so that allows us to keep the prices, at a minimum cost, and because they want us to get the people from the rural areas into their doctor's appointments, to work, basic household needs.
That's good to know. I'm kind of curious, with all of these precautions that y'all are doing, has there ever been an experience, with your employees that might have been a risky situation, and kind of how they countered that?
I'm kind of new to transit. I started in 2019. And like I said, I'm still learning, but Comanche Nation Transit's been in operation for over 25 years. And like I said, so I don't know all the stories, but as far as I know, since I've been there, we haven't really had nothing serious. And if we had any incidents, they just contact dispatch, and then we get our police involved. Just small, minor stuff, nothing major. So which is good.
Yeah, that's
good.
definitely good to hear.
That's where their safety training comes in.
Yeah.
They know what protocol is. They're prepared for any, And then our trainer, safety personnel, she'll keep them updated, throughout the year on all that.
And has that training and stuff kind of won y'all any awards or accolades or anything like that? I know I kind of see it a little bit in our newspaper.
We had we won a safety award through Oklahoma Transit Association, which we're part of. In 2020, I think that's when we got that award. We got a driving award, I think, in either 19 or 21, somewhere around there. Same thing, Oklahoma Association, where it's a bus rodeo we take part in. As soon as I heard about it, I think that it highlights our drivers on, they take tests on securing wheelchairs, and then they do a driving test, and then first place is go to nationals. So we come close. We got second place. So, and that was our second year being part of that rodeo. It kind of died off since COVID, but I think they're going to be bringing it back this year, and I'm hoping to put some more drivers in there. And they got like 4 categories: big bus, cutaway bus, the shuttle van. I think there's one more. I can't remember what it is. But we took second place in that, so I was really proud about that for our second year being part of it.
Okay. Well, speaking of buses, do you kind of want to go into that and kind of tell us what kind of buses and transportation you offer?
We have several different buses. I'll let Pam, since she's assets, she's over all she keeps track of everything, our inventory. And if we look for new buses, all our drivers are just standard license, because a certain number capacity we have to have CDLs, and we're not that big. So she could explain what the different buses we have.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, we like Mr. Stillwell mentioned, we do not require a CDL, so we do have to stay 15 passenger or smaller. And what we concentrate on is the comfort of our clientele and our drivers and our ADA passengers getting in the vehicles and out of the vehicles. You know, some of them have to be lower, wider steps, safety, like a pole where when they step up, and then the seating, and then the drivers will be able to turn around in their seat, and they have enough room to get to our passengers in case they need help, with the safety belts and things like that. That's what we look for. Now, since our clientele has grown since just in the short time I've been there, I think we're going to start possibly getting in the future a couple of vans, hopefully, that are non-ADA. So we'll be able to accommodate more passengers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're throwing around ADA. Can you explain what ADA is?
American Disability Act.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which is
And that's a wide range of
scooters,
classifications.
walkers,
Oh, you can get scooters on the transit buses?
yes.
Yes.
That's cool.
We have rear lifts, which go completely to the ground, where some of the ones with the walkers or even with prosthetics, cannot step up, or they have bad knees, where they'll require to lift, and they'll just have to actually walk onto it, and it'll lift them up into the van, level with the van, and they're tall enough where they don't have to bend over. They just go straight to their seat. And then we also have the side ramps, for some. To me, it's a little safer because you're not in the traffic, mostly in residence areas, where you can pull curbside and load up any type of wheelchair or handicapped personnel that way.
So in total, how many vans do y'all have?
In total, we have 15 in service.
And those pretty much go in and out all day?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're driving constantly. There is really no downtime other than their brakes.
And are they trained to, get those scooters on and get those people up? Like, do they do regular trainings?
Yes, when they first enter in with transit, they'll sit through classes and hands-on training for wheelchairs, any questions that may arise. Then we'll even take them out on the road with the live ride and get them hands-on with clientele with wheelchairs and scooters. And then every so often, we'll do refresher courses, watch videos, do refresher trainings on it so they can stay up to date.
Okay, that's cool. So talking about all these buses and, kind of where are your routes? How far do y'all go out?
We started in Lawton area, and then I think within a year or two after I started, we expanded to Anadarko area, which Anadarko area is all the way to Carnegie, Binger, Chickasha, and then just like that surrounding area all the way down here to Lawton. And I think we go Pumpkin Center, Walters, Indiana, and then kind of make a circle around that. And that's our area, what we operate in. Looking at trying to move down into Walters area to go down to Temple, was that Granfield down that way?
I think so.
And then
yeah.
Red River, but that's somewhere in the future. So hopefully we could get down that way. So base all the way to Binger, all the way down to here to Walters.
Okay.
We cover.
That's cool.
Everything is pretty much in our jurisdiction area.
And is that because of like funding and like just the counties we service is kind of how far y'all go out, or
No,
or that's
Explain
kind
it.
of just yeah.
I ain't for sure. I just know that we got other tribes. What we try not to go into their territory.
Oh, okay. I see.
So that's why I said we try to stay within our jurisdiction. So, like I said, I'm kind of pushing it when I go to Anadarko, when I go up to Binger, but that's not too far out of our jurisdiction because we go almost to that river, I think, in Anadarko.
Okay. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, or did he cover it?
He covered it, but yes, with FTA, they did set up jurisdictions, tribal jurisdictions, and they're the ones who made our geographic area, and we can transport out of our jurisdiction, but they do not like us transporting from, just say per se, China Arapaho back, coming out of their jurisdiction and back into ours.
Okay.
They, because we all compete for miles.
Oh, really?
And that's where our grants come
that's where
from.
we get our federal money is revenue miles. So the more miles that we could accumulate here in our jurisdiction area, that's how we get federal money.
Oh, so it's like a little competition.
So, something like that.
Something like
we
that.
we kind of help each other out, but
Oh, okay.
so
So we share our federal money with Kiowas since we're KCA. So Apache doesn't have a transit, so just Kiowas and Comanche. So we split whatever the federal government gives us on how much they report on federal miles and our miles. And then that's how much they determine how much money we get.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess the next big question, for me, for one, but also probably our listeners, is the process that they need to take to catch a ride.
That would be Miss Luna there. She does the scheduling,
Okay.
and she's lead dispatch. And
Yeah, to schedule a ride's real easy. If they've never ridden with us, they just give us a call. The dispatch line, we'll set them up a profile. We'll get their basic information, name, and all that, where they're going to get picked up at and going to. Then if they have a medical or work or educational appointment, we'll schedule that up with them a day in advance. Anything else the day of, and we do set subscriptions up on a month-to-month basis. From there, yeah, it's really straightforward and easy. Just contact dispatch. And we do have to where if they like, and they don't always want to have to deal with call and dispatch, we do have an online booking service called Mobility through EcoLane. And they'll set it up through dispatch initially. Once they get it downloaded in the Play Store, they'll contact dispatch, give them their email. We'll send them out a password and give them a username. From there, they can log in with their username, password. They can book their own rides, cancel their own rides. It also lets them know who's picking them up, when the driver's en route, and when the driver's there.
Well, that's cool. And that's all in the app?
Yeah.
So they can do all of that?
when the app is working perfect, it's almost like a Uber. It'll show you where your bus is when it's on its
cool.
way. So
Okay.
it's kind of hard on our elders because they're not
Yeah.
computer or smartphones, whatever. So they could still call in and talk to a live dispatcher. So
But this kind of helped out our younger demographic.
Oh,
who
yeah,
would rather do
absolutely.
everything through phone. Mm-hmm. But we do have elders on there that can maneuver it real easy.
Oh,
And
that's good.
Since we set them up with it, we don't hear from them, but we'll see them pop up on our screen.
A good idea would probably have like a little class for them too, and kind of teach them how to use the app.
yeah,
I feel like that'd be cool.
we try to go to like whenever other programs are having some kind of like the health fair and stuff like that. We try to set up a booth and send all the information up there.
Yeah. Otherwise, dispatch, we do our best to talk them step by
Yeah.
step through it.
I've even had some of dispatch ride in the buses to meet
To
some of
help 'em?
the riders because they just hear them, they don't see them, and then whenever we have enough staff, they ride along with them and maybe show them how to do the app. Some of our
That's a good idea. That's super cool. I like that. Is there an age limit or who can ride and who can't ride? Is there anything limiting there?
We don't have an age limit, but like 12 and under have to be accompanied by adult. But if you're 13 years old and older, you can ride transit.
Okay.
We
good
just
to know.
ask that if you're in the like 5 and under, like car seat age range, you do need to provide your own car seat for the safety.
We do have a limit on grocery bags because since we're a transit and we have other riders besides just one, so we can't have somebody with 15 to 20 bags in there. So we do have limited space. So we do take a lot of people shopping, but we can't let them overload our bus and then other people can't sit in there or trip over their stuff.
So we try to keep the limit to 8 bags. And there is like a little loophole. If you have those little collapsible shopping carts that stand upright, you can put as much in there as you want and we'll secure it down like it's a wheelchair. There is that
smart.
little technicality.
Okay. And with the transit, are there certain stops or do y'all can just pick them up anywhere? I know like LATs, there's like only certain.
Yeah, we're a curb to curbside service.
Okay.
And that's what the difference is with us, that we'll come pick you up at your house and take you to where you're going. May not be right away because, like I said, we're transit, so that means we're picking up and dropping off at the same time. So we might pick you up and then go pick up another person, drop off, pick up, and then by the time we get you there, so it's not A to B. That's more or less like your Uber or Lyft. So that's why our cost is not as much as theirs. So it'll get you there. It's just sometimes we got to pick up other customers.
So if they put like, they have to be in an appointment at a certain time, could they possibly get picked up even earlier? Yeah. Or is it closer to the schedule?
Yeah, our booking is computer generated. So if you let us know your appointment is at 12, we'll tell the system that they got to be there by 12. And it'll arrange it to where they'll get dropped off before 12.
Okay.
But if you don't have a certain time, like if you're just going shopping, you might ride a little bit longer because you're not pressed there at a certain time.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, so we're going to take a little break and we're going to hear from our PIO director, Jolene Sconchin, about all the upcoming events for Comanche Nation. So we'll be right back.
Hamaratweka Nʉmʉ. Nese Jolene Sconchin, and I am the director of the Comanche Nation Public Information Office. Summer is around the corner, and there are many events to end our springtime activities, so take note of the following events happening in Comanche country. The Comanche Nation Gift Shop is moving back to its original building outside of the Comanche Nation Casino off of East Gore Boulevard in Lawton. They are currently closed as they move, and a reopening will take place on Monday, June the 2nd. The Comanche Nation Injury Prevention will have a car seat safety checkup and will be distributing car seats, smoke detectors, and fire extinguishers from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Friday, May 30th at 3 Southwest D Avenue in Lawton. Bring proof of residency and CDIB. The car seat inspection is open to the public. For more information, contact the Injury Prevention Program. The deadline for enrolled Comanche High School seniors to submit their information for the Comanche Nation Youth Program's graduation banquet is May 31st. Submit a photo and a brief summary of their high school accomplishments and future plans. Email the information to studentservices@comanchenation.com. Contact the Youth Services for additional information. The Indiehoma Native American Club will have its second annual powwow beginning at 2 o'clock Saturday, May 31st at the Indiehoma High School, 307 Ciabatta. There will be contests in many categories, and vendors can set up for $25 or an item of equal value. The Comanche Nation Gravel Tin Horn is accepting applications during June for the Surreal and Fletcher areas, with services beginning in July. For more information, contact the Comanche Nation Gravel Tin Horn Program. There will be a Comanche Nation Election Board meeting 6 p.m. on June 3rd at the Kotaker Conference Room at the Comanche Nation Complex. The meetings are open to Comanche tribal members. The Comanche Nation Prevention and Recovery, along with the Day of Champions, presents a football, fast pitch, and multi-sport camp for boys and girls ages 5 through 18, 8 a.m. through 3 p.m., June 2nd and 3rd at the Comanche Nation Complex's Janice P. Wardy softball field. Breakfast and lunch will be provided. You must pre-register for the camp by emailing dayofchampionscamp@gmail.com. The Comanche Nation Youth Services will hold a summer camp for ages 6 through 13 years, 9 a.m. through 3 p.m., June 3rd through June 6th at the Comanche Community Center in Walters, and June 16th through 18th at the Comanche Community Center in Apache. Other camps in July will be at the Kashkahoma Building and Watchataker Hall at the Comanche Nation Complex. Students must be enrolled members of the Comanche Nation, and the first 20 registered students will be accepted per session. For more information, contact the Comanche Nation Youth Services. The Comanche Nation Court will hold its monthly legal aid and clinic from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the courthouse on June 4th and June 11th. For more information, contact the Comanche Nation Tribal Court. The I Am Indian Youth Council will hold an Indian Taco Sale fundraiser from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. June the 6th at the Comanche Academy Charter School, 1608 Southwest 9th Street in Lawton. A meal, which includes a drink and dessert, is $10. Beans and fry bread is $5, and fry bread is $2. They will deliver 3 orders or more. Proceeds will go to future I Am Indian projects. Support our youth. The Comanche Nation Shoshone Reunion Committee will have a bingo and food fundraiser at 6 p.m. June 6th at the former Comanche Academy Charter School building, 1701 Northwest Taft Avenue in Lawton. They will have 15 games for $15 and a $10 brisket dinner. They are gearing up for the Shoshone Language Reunion, which will take place the week of this year's Comanche Nation Fair in September. A beginner's beaded earring workshop will take place June the 7th and June the 14th at the Comanche Nation Prevention and Recovery Outpatient Office, 807 Southwest F Avenue in Lawton. You must RSVP to attend. To register or for more information, contact the Comanche Nation Prevention and Recovery Program. The Comanche Nation Higher Education School graduation banquet will be held 6 p.m. through 8:30 p.m. June 13th at Cameron University's McGlassland Fall Ballroom in Lawton. Enrolled Comanche High School graduates must RSVP by calling the Comanche Nation Higher Education Office. If a runoff election is needed for the 2025 Comanche Nation election, it will take place on June 13th and June 14th. Early voting will take place 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Comanche Talker Conference Room and the Comanche Academy next to the Comanche Nation Education Center, 1608 Southwest 9th Street in Lawton. Regular voting will be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the following polling sites: at the Comanche Nation Complex, at the Comanche Nation Outreach Office in Oklahoma City, 8014 Northwest Western Avenue in Oklahoma City, the Comanche Nation Community Center in Apache, 309 Julia Mesquite Road, the Comanche Nation Outreach Office in Anadarko, 602 West Virginia, the Coahoma Building in Cache, 752 Northwest Quanah Road, and the Comanche Nation Community Center in Walters, 905 East Missouri. Remember to bring a valid ID or CDIB and exercise your right to vote. For more information, contact the Comanche Nation Election Board. Remember that the contact and application information about the programs I mentioned can be found at the Comanche Nation website, ComancheNation.com. Also, look at the Comanche Nation News Facebook page and the Comanche Nation of Oklahoma Facebook page for additional information about the events and activities. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Ta'apatabani, have a happy Father's Day. Reporting for the Comanche Nation PIO News, Nuse Jolene Sconchin. Ura.
There's certain ones that ride with us all the time, and then if they don't ride with us or we didn't pick him up or her, that driver will say, he rides with us all the time. And then he starts worrying what's going on with him. So, and then we got some that will send these guys snacks because they're so good at, dispatching and helping them. So they get some snacks out of it sometimes. Pizza, and the last thing I think we
Treats.
got was what, edible. Y'all got an edible arrangement?
Those
Ooh,
are
that was a pretty
expensive.
one.
Edible arrangements.
Yeah, like I said, because but
We're spoiled.
then I had some of the drivers, some of the I know a couple of elders with Comanche elders wanted to buy them lunch, stuff like that.
Yeah, we can count on one Comanche elder at least twice a year per cap. And Christmas, his elder payment, he gets us a pizza party.
Really, every time?
Yeah.
Just-
That's so sweet.
Just appreciation.
Well, I mean, I think that's like cool because like when you're riding with someone, you get to know them and you get a relationship. So transit, if anything, is one of our bigger departments that you have a relationship, a constant relationship with our tribal members. So, I mean, it shows that y'all are doing y'all's job and doing it
but that all
well.
comes down from our director.
Yeah.
You know, that's what he requires of us. You know, customer service. Comanche Nation members, you know, we go all out for them. Even if we don't have bookings and stuff, Shelby still tries to squeeze them in somewhere. You
You
know,
may not get it right then, but I'm
Yeah.
watching. As soon as there's a cancellation, I'm calling them right back up. Hey,
they do callbacks and say, "Hey, we got a ride," you know.
because you know that
But-
we get voted on by the people for our budget, and it's a pretty good sized budget. So I try to tell these guys, listen, we got to make Comanche's priority because you know that's why we created the card for them, trying to give them all the free rides we can, because we don't want them to feel like. Well, sometimes they do feel like the service is not. You know, they're not getting enough out of it. So that's what I said. We've been working on it, trying to make them priority.
Is there a place that maybe someone could leave like a comment card? Is that something that y'all have or
Oh no, please.
no?
No,
you don't want that?
No. Well, we do have a email.
Where they can
transit.
go.
We got a
Yeah,
transit
there
email
is.
where they could send us anything and
Majority-
complaints or.
majority of the time they just call
Uh-huh.
and just let us, and then dispatch will write the note, and then we'll relay it to him or the drivers or the
okay.
dispatch.
And we've had some send us cards.
Really?
Yeah. Just like I said, they send them. They'll tell them they're going to send them pizza or like I said, that edible arrangement. I didn't know nothing about it until it got there.
And even when the complaints come in, they go directly to our director, and he makes the best decision on appeasing them.
Yeah, I give my business cards to all the drivers and tell them if anybody's really wanting to complain or whatever, give it to them so they could call me. I thank them for calling me because, like I said, I don't know these issues unless they call me and talk to me. They could probably call dispatch, and sometimes they're so busy they forget to either give it to me or whatever. And then, like I said, but when they call me direct, that's when I answer and try to help them out best I can. Like either comp them some free rides or something, or just apologizing to them and listening to them because they just want to be heard on certain issues.
Yeah. Definitely just want to be seen. I totally get that.
I hope he's recording all this.
He is. Yeah, that's why he said hop back into it. So even when we were, he was recording all of it. So,
In my opinion, to run a transit department, it takes a really good director. And I'm not bragging on my director. You know, I've had some in the past also that were really good. And it's all public relations and running your crew to get them to recognize that without our clientele, we wouldn't have transit. You know, so that's my opinion.
that is true. That's very true.
Yeah, definitely a team effort.
Yes, that's one thing that's really instilled down in our department is we're a team. There's no I did this, I did that. You know, everybody has an input in pretty much every aspect of transit.
And you being a team, who else is a part of it besides the bus operators? Like, who all does it take to get this machine going every day?
Let's see. We have a data analyst, which is Mr. Nibs, Lil Nibs. He did a podcast with you guys for Little Ponies. Stacy Davis, and she's the administrative assistant. We have 3 other dispatchers. and 2 mechanics, and then the rest is bus operators. And like I said, I do have one permanent bus operator what lives in Anadarko. So he knows that route up there. And we send him help every once in a while when they get behind or extra people are calling in.
Okay, so it's like a one-stop shop for like the vans and everything. Like you do everything in-house.
Yes.
That's cool. Okay. Well, I kind of have a question. I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but what are your plans for expansion? What are you hopeful for?
We are talking with, I already had talks with the mayor of Lawton, Booker, and a general with Fort Sill. We're trying to come up with something for the families that come in for graduations, the new enlisted soldiers what don't know where nothing's at, trying to make some kind of agreement with them to work with them on Fort Sill because Lawton doesn't have a taxi service no more.
Really?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
It's been a couple years.
It's been, it's been
Really?
some years.
My
So
gosh.
all what's out there is Uber and Lyft, Lats and us. Well, Kiowas every once in a while they come in, but
Why do you point at us?
we are trying to work something out with Fort Sill. So it's just coming to agreement and like a contract with them. So that's somewhere down the line. We're talking about. I've been thinking about trying to get down to Red River. So hopefully opening up a substation there at our community center in Walters, and maybe trying to find somebody what lives there in Walters and drives for us. And that way they're just the same way we're doing with Anadarko. So we just need bigger inventory and keep our budget where it's at. Hopefully that we can expand down there.
Do y'all kind of figure that out by doing some type of research to see if we have a lot of tribal members down there, or how do y'all figure, where you would expand?
We haven't put nothing out recently, but I know we've had at, I'm trying to think where we did it at. It was something we did early on when I first came on, where we did a needs assessment, and then just asked, which there is a need down south because people out in rural area don't have no way to get to the grocery store or to the food bank or whatever. So it's just finding the money to buy more vehicles and hiring new drivers.
Okay, so earlier you mentioned the electric vehicles. I kind of want to touch on that because I'm just curious. What's the difference between the gas and the electric, and kind of how that's been going for you guys?
We put in for this competitive grant, which is low emissions. Back when Biden, I think, got into presidency, and he came up with all that money for non-gas vehicles, whatever. But we put in for it, and it took us a while to get it, but we got it, and we bought 2 all-electric vehicles with the grant money, and I didn't want to do too many because we got to fill them out to see are they worth using, and we're finding it kind of hard, but we are using them for an 8-hour shift. So we do have 2. They're in operation. If we do go a different route, it would probably be the hybrids. I think we'll go hybrids.
And what's that?
They're like part electric and part fuel.
Oh, okay. So you do half and half.
The electric, we're having a hard time getting the whole 8 hours out of them on a shift. But they are working, but they're limited to just like in town. We can't go long distance on them. Now, if you get a hybrid, when it goes into highway miles, it turns into fuel. But if it's in town, it's just electric. So that's what I said. I think we'll go hybrids if we continue to use that money from the government, if they continue it. So.
Okay. Do you want to touch on any events or offers or anything that is coming up to let the people know?
The next event, I think we offer free rides for all tribal members for elections. They just have to call dispatch office. Our next event will be homecoming. We put 2 vans down there every year. Homecoming is kind of hard on people's vehicles were not perfect. They get tickets in Walters because their lights out
Oh, yeah.
so we try to provide a safe ride for them to go in town to the grocery store or wherever they need to go in Walters. And then at the end of the shift, when we bring the vans back this way to Lawton, if somebody needs a ride from Walters Powwow to get back here, we offer a ride for them to ride with our drivers.
Is that like later in the hours or just during business hours?
It's the weekend.
Oh, okay.
So it's
okay.
they usually get there, I want to say like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, something like that, until like 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, okay.
So they're there all day because the powwow starts around 12. And then I don't want to keep them there too late, the drivers, so it's like 9 or 10 they come back in the evening. So we picked up our first year we did it, we didn't really have no one riding, but
Really?
they've been announcing on the speakers, and we had a pretty good crowd last year. So
Do y'all have a flyer for that too, like you have for elections, or?
we did a flyer last year, and then of course we depend on the homecoming committee to announce it to let people know. So that's our next event where we do. But we do other events like we are going to help with the Shoshone reunion this year. We helped them when the last time we hosted them here. We'll probably do rides back and forth to Lawton, the hotel, back out here, and then anytime they want to go back into Lawton, we'll have a couple of vans just designated for them.
And usually any of our events we do, if you have Facebook, we have a Facebook page, CN Transit. We'll post any events or anything transit related on that page.
So they can find like the app or the website and all that there
Yes.
too? Okay. That's good to know. So is there anything else y'all wanted to add before we wrap it up today?
Here soon we will be implementing where our passengers will have the option to pay with the credit card.
Okay.
We're still working out the kinks on that to just even get them in the vans, and then they'll be on a trial period, to work out the kinks once they are in use. So
So right now it's just cash in the app, or?
yes,
Yes, right now we're just cash only.
Okay.
Cash, and then of course we got the prepaid cards that I talked about earlier. So we got different prices. I'm not for sure all the prices. Shelby should know all the prices because, like I said, but I know like a 20 punch for any Comanche member is $35.
Okay.
Okay, so like in Lawton, if we pick you up at your house and take you to the casino, that's just 1 punch, and 20 punches at 35, that comes up to like $1.75
Oh, wow.
for one
That's a
way.
good
So
deal.
that's cheap, like I said.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't get a prepaid card, it's like was it $4 cash?
Yes.
So
Okay.
that saves you like $2.25. So
Yeah. People need to know that for sure.
so it's cheaper to buy a pass from us. But we do have different passes. Like I think the most expensive pass is what, $50,
Yeah.
and that's non-tribal. So like I said, it's 20 punches for 50. That's why I
Okay.
said we just started the Comanche card probably about 6 months ago or something like that. Yeah, about
How's
6
that been going?
It's worked out. So.
That's good.
But our biggest ones is elder and disabled cards.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
We like I said, when I first came on Transit 19, I think we had 2 or 3 ADA buses. And I think about 90% of our buses right now are all ADA. So,
Oh, okay.
but we are looking at, like I said, next year buying 2 buses which are non-ADA, so we could have the capacity of 15. And we'll probably still buy some more ADAs, of course. We'll use. We're waiting on FDA to tell us what our monies are for next year.
When you transitioned to ADA, is that just because that was the need for it? do you tend to help a lot more elders and things like? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe one more time, just kind of let them know how they can, get a ride, or if any information you want to put out to let them know about transit.
If you need to get a ride, our number is 580-492-3389. Our operation hours are Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. We do operate on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The book rides through dispatch is Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. I learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone else did too. So thanks for tuning in on this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.